Hi guys! So today I am going to be doing a video where I sit down and I do my makeup and we talk about some stuff that's going on in the beauty community at the moment. Not necessarily drama, but makeup drama. And in regards to makeup drama, that is something that I can comment on. And I feel like it's not so much drama as it is like commentary on things that I have seen going on and just, do my makeup, chat, give my 2 cents as if I have any leg to stand on in regards to giving my opinion. But it's just my opinion. We all have one, and this is just mine. So I'm going to just get into it. The first thing I want to make mention of, I don't know enough about it to leave commentary on it, but I saw an article pop up regarding that there were, I don't know if it was an independent company or somebody did a test on 200 different makeup products, and somebody tagged me in this actually on Twitter. And they found a chemical in like 80% of the products. I'm gonna have the articles and stuff like that linked down below. I actually retweeted the article a couple of weeks ago and I was like, this is great. I'm really, really glad. So it's PFAs in cosmetics, and somebody tagged me, and this is a Yahoo News article. Waterproof mascara, liquid lipsticks, and foundation may contain cancer-linked forever chemicals. Study concludes, researchers tested 231 makeup products for indicators of potentially toxic chemicals called PFAs. PFA exposure has been linked to an increased risk of cancer and other health problems. Most waterproof mascaras, liquid lipsticks, and foundations tested had indicators of this chemical. A study of popular makeup products found that most waterproof mascaras, liquid lipsticks, and foundations tested had indicators of cancer-linked forever chemicals, and most were not labeled as such. Researchers tested 231 cosmetic products from stores and brands across the US and Canada. About half of them had high fluorine levels, which is how scientists spot the presence of potentially toxic chemicals called PFAs. Thousands of per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAs, exist, but only a small portion of them have been tested for toxicity. All PFAs are human-made and slow to break down in the environment and in the body. Because they don't break down, they can build up in water and food and can stay in our bodies, and they can cause health effects. Thomas Bruton, an author of the study and senior scientist at the Green Science Policy Institute, told Insider. The study was published today in Environmental Science and Technology Letters. Exposure to the two most well-studied PFAs, called PFOA and PFOs, have been linked to increased risk of some cancers, low birth weight, and problems with the thyroid and immune system. Waterproof and long-lasting makeup are most likely to contain PFAs. Well, that's pretty much all makeup, because makeup in today's day and age is meant to be long-lasting. Everyone wants to wear makeup that is going to stay. You don't want to put something on and then hope to reapply it in 4 hours. I'll keep reading. That makes sense to us because some of those products tend to be marketed as waterproof or long-lasting, Bruton told Insider. These are the type of properties that make sense, PFAs that might be used for. The team selected 29 products with high fluorine levels to be analyzed further, and they were all found to contain at least 4 PFAs of concern. Most products did not list PFAs on the label. Although lipstick wearers may eat several pounds of lipstick in their lifetimes, makeup products are relatively unregulated compared to the food and drug industries, Graham Peasley, author of the study, said in a press release. Nearly 90% of the products with high fluorine levels, including the 29 confirmed to have PFAs, did not list them on the ingredients label. Nearly 90%. Since there are not much that people can do to avoid unlabeled PFAs, the study authors are calling for the government to step up. Senator Susan Collins, Senator Richard Blumenthal, and others introduced the No PFAs in Cosmetics Act today to ban PFAs in makeup and personal care products. Why do we have to do that? Simply just don't use cancer-causing chemicals in makeup. Weird. Representative Debbie Dingell plans to introduce the same bill in the House. The fact that about half of the products that we tested didn't have high levels of fluorine and don't seem to have PFAs indicates to us that it is possible to make cosmetics without these chemicals. So it shouldn't be too hard to stop using them. That's the article. And I think the shitty part is that they don't name and shame. They don't talk about what products, so 90% of them contain the PFAs in. And they really don't talk about like what the increased risk is. There's probably an additional study. If you guys have that, I would love to read it. I did see a report that somebody had linked to talk about what brands were tested, and it was freaking all of them. Basically, it had like Fenty, it had all the drugstore brands, it had a ton of different brands in there. But what products? What does it do? What is the increased risk? Like, is it a 1% increased risk? Is it a 75% increased risk? What are we talking about here? Because cancer is my number one fear. My mom died of cancer, and I'm super not interested in getting it, and really not interested in getting it because of something like makeup. I'll just stop wearing makeup if that's the case. Like, if we honestly, it's just mind-boggling to me that in today's day and age, they're still using shit like this, and basically we're all just like consuming this stuff, hoping that it's, you know, fine to use because it's sold by large corporations and large brands. But we just trust that this makeup isn't going to be giving us cancer. And you know what? I've just given up trusting in any companies that any of them have our best interest at heart. I've just realized that. And you know, whether it was known to them or not, it's really, really disheartening. I love how I'm sitting here talking about that makeup that's long lasting has cancer causing chemicals in it, probably just putting it on my face right now as we speak. I already have 1,000 times. That's the problem. It's like, what is the increased risk? Are the products that I'm using part of that increase? Are they not? I don't know. Maybe it's just a little frustrating. So yeah, I wanted to bring that up because there's a lot more that I'm talking about in this video. I'm just kind of going off because frankly, I haven't talked about a lot of stuff on my platform in a long time. I've been really trying to keep things positive over here, lifting up other creators, trying to do pretty fun makeup looks. But at the same time, like, I have a lot to say about a lot of things, and I don't say it half the time because I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'd rather not hear about it. I don't want to read negative comments. I don't want to read people arguing in the comments, but I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't really care anymore. Like, I used to be very outspoken on my YouTube channel, and I've just really wanted to keep things positive, and still do. Obviously, I'm going to make positive content in the future as well. But I feel like sometimes, like, you just gotta speak your mind. I'm speaking my damn mind. Yeah, it's just frustrating because what is there anything that's safe? You know what I mean? Anymore in our world, is there anything that we can use that eventually at some point doesn't lead to like reproductive damage or issues with our immune system or cause cancer? Like, at some point, it just feels like we're freaking doomed. And I hate that. And I just hate that companies and corporations have the legal ability to use that kind of stuff and not disclose that information to people. And it just really bothers me. So I'm trying to, you know, stop using things that are super toxic. But at the same time, like, is it possible? And I don't know. So anyway, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. I don't know enough about it to like be sitting here spouting off facts, but I just read that article and I feel like it just sort of came and went. Like, people were talking about it and I retweeted it and I haven't heard anything else about it. You know, it's just one of those things that kind of flies under the radar, or it's something that people talk about for a few minutes and then it's like, okay, next. And that's sort of the news cycle of today, right? Like, you'll see something that's like insane and people will be so outraged by it. And then it's like, okay, as soon as the news cycles through and moves on, it's like, next story, and you never hear about it again. Like, I remember when there was a Gulf of Mexico oil spill back in the day, and that's happening again. I'm pretty sure it was a BP oil spill, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. I can't quite remember. And I remember the news was like talking about it. And then one day they just stopped talking about it. And then I remember thinking a few weeks later, and I was like, is that still happening? And then you look at them, it's like, oh yeah, no, it's literally been spilling. Just constant oil into the ocean. But because the news had moved on from it, it almost felt like, and it ended. Anyway, I feel like I'm getting so angry and I need to just stop. My hair today is so bad. It's gotta go. It's gotta go. I'm putting it up. I just don't care. I need to cut it. Every time my hair gets to a certain level where it needs to be cut, I can't make it look good no matter what I do. It doesn't matter if I freshly wash it, curl it. It doesn't matter if I use dry shampoo and like try to make it look good. Once it's to a certain length that I'm unhappy with, everything that I do to it is bad, in my opinion. Like, everything. And it's right there. Like, this last week, it got to this awkward level, and now I cannot make it look good no matter what I do. Mama's got to get a haircut. I like my hair shorter. Like, some people are like, oh, grow your hair up. No. It only grows to my boobs. That's it. My growth point is my boobs. It will not get any longer. It will never. It has never. It can never. Your hair has a growth point. Everybody's does. Yours might be to your feet. Yours might be infinite. Mine might be here. and that is the case, it does not matter how well I treat my hair, how long I grow it out or anything like that. This is how long it will grow before my hair sheds off and starts growing new hair. So everyone has a growth point. Everyone's is just different. Like my husband's seemingly is forever. I knew somebody in high school like that. Like her hair just kept growing forever. And then a lot of people will be like, how do you make your hair so long? How do you get it to grow so long? It doesn't have to do with anything like what you can do. You can't buy any product that's going to make your growth point longer. Yours just is what it is. And mine happens to be like right here. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is I saw this on Twitter, and man, perfect time while I use a bronzer to talk about bronzers. And that is the new Jaclyn Cosmetics summer launch. I don't know exactly the name of the launch, but it's probably the one that you guys have seen everywhere. This bronzer looks extremely orange on me. It looks really terrible, but you know what? We're just gonna keep going with it and not worry about it, because at the end of the day, it does not matter. I am going nowhere today. Speaking of bronzers, Jaclyn Cosmetics released a new summer collection that is coming out. And upon first me seeing it, I was like, oh, that looks like it could be fun. It's like some lip oils and some liquid highlighter and some cream bronzers. Then I saw a post, which is up here on the screen right now, regarding the shades of the bronzers. And then I watched Jaclyn's video regarding this. So I like watched the launch video, and oh my. So basically, a lot of people are upset because the bronzers are, I think there's like 6 shades, and they are made for my skin tone and lighter, basically. Like, we're not talking about an inclusive range here whatsoever, which Jaclyn addresses in the video. Says, you know, it is a range that will expand as the cream bronzer range expands in her line, but not for a while, until that is going to, I think that was going to be like a permanent item in her collection, and the bronzers will be expanded because this is a very, very small range. Now, Jaclyn Cosmetics is owned, or at least under the umbrella of Forma Brands, which is owned by Morphe. And they got money. Like, we're talking Morphe has money, and always has and always will, because of, honestly, people like Jaclyn and a lot of other people in the makeup community that have really, you know, been hyping up Morphe for a long time. It's beautiful for light to light medium skin tones. Honestly, for Jaclyn's skin tone. For me, would work for me. But for the majority of anyone with a deeper skin tone, it is not going to work. So they addressed it, and I'll read to you their statement that they put out. Okay, so, oh, did they just put it on their story? Oh, yeah, it's on their story, but it was only from 17 hours ago, so it's new. We would like to address the shade range of our sun-kissed cream bronzers. We hear your feedback and recognize that the range is not broad enough. Our vision for Jaclyn Cosmetics is to create an inclusive and diverse brand that is a haven for all lovers of beauty. To ensure that we deliver on that vision, we have partnered with Change Cadet, a diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI consulting firm, to look at all areas of opportunity within our business and to address our process going forward. We thank you for sharing your feedback with us and want you to know that we are committed to doing better. The Jaclyn Cosmetics team. Okay, so here's my issue with that, and I feel like a lot of people's issues, this isn't just me, but this is across the board, and rightfully so. It is that a lot of people are saying, like, why are deeper skin tones an afterthought? And I've seen some people defending the brand saying, well, they're a smaller brand and they could only do 6 shades right now. Like, it's not, they're going to expand, so what's the big deal? And I think a really good point to note is that it shouldn't have to be expanded upon at a later date. 6 shades, if that's all you could do, can be inclusive. It can. It can. Because if you're going to do 6 shades, you can have 2 shades for lighter skin, 2 shades for medium skin, 2 shades for deep skin. It absolutely can be done. It is a choice not to. And that's the thing. It's not that they couldn't do 6 inclusive shades, it's that they didn't. And so to make the comment of like, we know that the shade range isn't inclusive, but we'll expand it later. It's just, it was a choice, you know, it was a choice to make lighter shades and to keep the deeper shades for later. You guys get yours later. Right now, these are ours. That really leaves out a huge group of people. And I think that at this time, at this juncture in the beauty industry. It's just no longer acceptable. We know better now, and we've seen brands that have done really poor in the past at that. A brand that I'm going to be discussing here upcoming in a moment has done really shitty at that. But two of them actually, two of the next brands, I'm going to be talking about Hourglass and I'm going to be talking about Tarte. And we've had mad issues with this shit in the past from brands where they just don't take into consideration that it's no longer acceptable or explainable to do things later. Like Tarte did with their foundation back in the day. They were like, yeah, we're going to expand the range because people darken up in the summer. And it's like that, sure, some people, but other people need that shade now. And so it's just really weird that these companies with boardrooms full of people and seeing like, you know, the feedback of people for years. This ain't new. Tarte did that thing with the foundation. Was that 2017? Fucking A. Like, come on. We're 2018. I don't even know what year that was, but like the people have spoken, and they spoke a long time ago, and they're speaking now, and they're saying this is crazy. Like you guys are millions and millions of dollars. It's a purposeful choice not to have an inclusive range, especially when you say, it's like, okay, I'm going to use my palettes that I released as an example and an upcoming collaboration that I no longer have coming on as an example. So when I created my palettes with Pure Cosmetics and with ColourPop, it wasn't an afterthought of saying like, oh, make sure they're inclusive. It's part of it. It's part of it of like, no, this shade isn't going to work on everybody, so we need to reformulate it to make it work on everybody. It has to be a richly pigmented palette because then across the board, everyone can use it. A richly pigmented palette, somebody with the fairest of skin or the deepest skin can use because it's made to include everybody. And that's just a part of the process. You need to make sure that things that you're doing are that way. I mean, it's just, we're at a point where it shouldn't have ever been like we reached a day where now this is a thing. It should have been a thing from the beginning, but it wasn't. But now that it's brought to attention and that we know that makeup needs to be inclusive, like it just needs to be now. So I was coming out with a collection that's no longer coming out because I had to cancel the collab due to some issues. Bronzer was a part of that, and I kept pushing back on that. Not because I'm like trying to virtue signal right now. I'm not trying to be like, I pushed back because I'm a good person. That's not what it is, but it's part of making makeup. You have to take into consideration everybody. I didn't want to create a bronzer that only worked for me. And so I was like, ooh, we can't have a bronzer in this collection. If we can only do one, I can't have a bronzer in it because I'm not going to put out a collection that excludes a portion of the population. Just shouldn't be done. And that's like, I don't even formulate makeup. I don't even do that. I've seen a lot of pushback in regards to this online lately, and rightfully so. You know, people are pissed for good reason. And I think that the shade range, when seeing it on everybody's arms, is like we've been talking about this for so long. Why is this still an issue? It should not be. It's so. And I know a lot of people are like, it's just makeup. It's not. It's just indicative of the world that we live in, that this is still an issue. This may come off like I'm attacking Jaclyn Cosmetics. No, there are a lot of brands that have done this. Like I said, Tarte, Hourglass. Hourglass is notorious for this. They're notorious for having shitty shade ranges that don't work for a lot of people. That is like a huge, huge thing. They are like the Illume Sheer Trio. I saw Sam talking about this last year. They got rid of the Illume Sheer Trio for a long time, and everyone was asking them, come back with more shades, come back with more shades. And they came back, and guess what? They didn't have more shades. They had one shade, and that shade works for my skin tone. And it's like, you're Hourglass. You're gonna charge those prices, and then you're gonna fucking not come out with more than one shade? Hello? What is wrong with you? It's just like brands at this point. The excuses are just excuses at this point. You know, you've heard the feedback. I know these social media people are sitting online looking at this feedback. They read it and watch it all day long. And you know, it's maybe like a CEO decision, or maybe it's, I don't know who's making these decisions in the boardrooms or what, but it's definitely a direct decision that they're making, you know, like Hourglass knows this. They've heard the feedback. They've heard the feedback. They know, but they're directly choosing not to create a more inclusive range. They're not making diverse makeup. And it doesn't mean that I don't like Hourglass. It doesn't mean that I don't like these companies. I think that Jaclyn Cosmetics products are really beautiful. It's just like, It's just one of those things where like you'll hear about something happening and you're like, it's 2021. It is the future. It is the future we saw in videos where people were talking about flying cars. We're not flying cars, but we can fucking make inclusive makeup for shit's sake. Like we're at a point in life where it's just like, come on, we can make makeup that doesn't have cancer causing chemicals in it, can't we? I mean, at some point, you're like, you're the brightest minds, you're the innovators, you're the creators, and yet you're still using that stuff. Like you're still doing it this way. It just feels to me like mind-boggling. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not trying to sit on camera and like shit on brands or sit here and rant or like, who am I? I'm just a lady who puts makeup on YouTube. That's who I am. I don't make makeup. I don't formulate it. I don't do that. And I probably don't even have room to be speaking on this stuff as much as I am. But like at some point, it's just like, really, we're still having this conversation. You're still doing the wrong thing. It's just fucking mind-blowing to me. So yeah. Anyway, the next topic, well, let's just go into Hourglass. Hourglass releasing an eyeshadow palette with 5 shades for $161. Is this that big of a deal in the grand scheme of all the things that I've just been talking about? No. But it's what's relevant going on in the makeup space right now. Is it ridiculous? In my opinion, yeah. So I said something about it on Twitter. I was like, it's preposterous pricing. And then I had a couple of people be like, well, haven't you pushed Hourglass products on us in the past? So when you're working with them and they're paying you, then it's good and fine, their prices. But when they release something that they're not paying you for, it's preposterous. No, that's not how any of this works. If I like a product, I will recommend it. So what happens is when a brand reaches out, and like Hourglass reached out to me, this was back in 2018. I actually attended BeautyCon with Hourglass. Really nice team of people. Like the team, great. Like they're really kind, amazing people. This isn't about that. It's not, I don't think the team that I worked with, like the social media team, aren't the ones that are in there like creating the makeup and coming up with the decisions regarding, you know, shade ranges and stuff like that. This isn't a dig on the team. They're extremely nice people. And I would have dinner with them again. They're really nice people. But yeah, I worked with them back in 2018. I did a couple of sponsored videos regarding the Hourglass foundation. I actually still like the Hourglass foundation, and I feel like the range of that was pretty good. And I used it and liked it and have used it many times since. That doesn't mean I'm not going to, you know, talk about future issues or future pricing that I think is astronomically dumb. It's like when I've talked about shit about, you know, Natasha Denona prices in the past. $240 for an eyeshadow palette is stupid. If you want to pay it, that's fine. In my opinion, this is all my opinion. This is my YouTube channel. All I can do is give my opinion on my YouTube channel. That's all I can do. But I think that price is ridiculously high, especially when I'm sitting here using something right now that costs like $18. Yeah, it's my eyeshadow palette. Which we're going to be talking about in a future video because it got duped / stolen from, and I bought the palette. So I'm going to be comparing side by side coming up in the future. So if you're interested in seeing that, well, subscribe. I just think that it's strategic and it is totally their prerogative. They can charge whatever they want for makeup. And I hold true to that. They can charge whatever they want. They could charge $8,000 for an eyeshadow palette, and that is their prerogative. It doesn't mean that I can't say that it's stupid. I think that's crazy. I think that $161 for 5 eyeshadows and a refillable pan palette is preposterous. Because I know makeup is cheap to make. Like, makeup is fucking cheap to make. It just is. But even in the most expensive makeup to make, $161 is a huge markup. I mean, that's a huge markup, in my opinion. All I can do is speak to that, in my opinion, and I think that that's crazy. Hourglass pricing in general is crazy. It sat in my cart for years before I could justify making a purchase on it. I had the ambient lighting powders every single time that I would go to Sephora. I would stand in the Hourglass aisle, I would swatch them on my hand, I would put them in my basket, and I would stand near the register and be like, should I or shouldn't I? Nope. And I would put it back because I couldn't justify the pricing. It's really expensive. Hourglass is. I never said it wasn't. Their pricing is high. It is something, though, that there are some products that I have from them that I feel personally as a makeup enthusiast, I can justify those prices because the product themselves are very unique, or I feel like I would get a lot of use out of them, i.e. the product that I have right here, which is the ambient lighting, Luminous Bronze Light Bronzer. I've used the literal shit out of this. I've hit pan, and that shows. I really like it. It's something that works for me. I really like the way that it performs. I really like the product in general. But I'm going to also make comment about things that I think are astronomical. I think that $161 for 5 eyeshadows is like a lot. It's a lot. And you can pay for it. If you like it, if you don't think so, get it. I'm not stopping you. I don't care what anybody else does. I'm talking for myself as a consumer and a makeup reviewer and somebody that has tried a lot of products. Yeah, that's really expensive in my opinion. I just think it's like, it's even for a luxury brand that charges luxury prices, that I don't expect anything less from Hourglass than to charge crazy high prices for makeup. That's still really, really high. And people like Natasha Denona, I've called that brand out in the past. Like $240 for an eyeshadow palette is, to me, preposterous. Like that's just dumb. But you know, you do you. You can buy whatever you want. And I'm not stopping you. You can spend thousands of dollars on makeup if you want. And that is the beauty of everybody has an opinion and everybody can do whatever they want with their own money. But me and my money, it ain't going anywhere near $161 for 5 eyeshadows. But I like Hourglass still, and that doesn't mean that every Hourglass product in the future I have to shit on or like. It's gonna be different, you know? And I mean, it's just hard because like, is there ethics when it comes to beauty? And at some point, I just don't know that there is. And it's like one of those things that as I'm getting older and as I'm growing and as I'm learning more about, you know, just the world and the way things work, everything is so corrupt. Everything you enjoy, unless you're doing it your damn self, unless you know exactly where everything that you have came from and know that it was ethically sourced and ethically made, like is it possible to live a completely ethical life? I don't know what it is. I don't know. And I make recommendations. Like when I was talking about my newborn must-haves and stuff like that, like I mentioned the snoo, that's crazy expensive, but I feel like it was helpful to us. And so if you're looking for a review on that, like I gave my review, but you know, it's just for me, 5 eyeshadows is never going to be worth nearly $200. Like that is balls expensive. So in regards to the next thing I'm going to talk about, I told you I was going to mention Tarte. And Tarte, well, what did they do? Well, they released a new makeup product, and it is a primer, and it is, I don't know if it goes on top of makeup or if it goes on top of your skin, but I've seen a lot of buzz around it, and I saw some people talking about it online, and you know, I thought I would give my 2 cents as well. It's really not that deep, but at the end of the day, they released a video on Instagram, and this is the video here. And in that video, they talk about, there is no filter on this video. This is just the makeup products. But then a lot of people were like, no, there's clearly a filter on this video. And then a lot of people like took the video and slowed it down. Now, I'm not going to say with 100% certainty that there was or was not. All I can say is that like, if I'm giving my opinion, it seems as though there was a filter on the video. Now, is this that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things? I mean, no. Is it shitty though? I think so. If there is a filter on it, like it's deceptive marketing. And I really dislike deceptive marketing. I actually have a video that I talked about back in the day. I talked about it. I'm going to link it up here. I was showing you guys some Instagram ads for things that I just feel like were extremely deceptive, and they're just simply lying to you. Like these companies are lying to you. I'm not talking about Tarte right here. I'm talking about like this teeth whitening company where they're like, look at the difference. And then this other, you know, one where like I've seen them all over the place. Oh my God. I'm sure you guys have seen them. It's like them removing blackheads, and they'll like show somebody's chin or nose, and there's like a ton of like blackheads all over the nose. Blackheads, and then they use their mask and then they wipe it away and oh my God, it's perfectly gone. That is literally 100% a lie. It's bullshit, straight out of the pit of hell. So it is frustrating to see people falling for that because it's nonsense. And a lot of people purchase these things and hope that this is going to do for them what the ad said it was going to do. And the ad is just a straight up lie. I mean, it's just bullshit, frankly. Am I orange? Whatever. And so deceptive marketing is something that's really frustrating. And it's companies using like extreme retouching and filters and saying they're not using filters and saying that something's going to whiten your teeth 25,000 shades in one go when it's just literally bullshit. It's like the frustrating thing, and the thing I want to say is like, for companies, maybe 5 years ago we would have fallen for your nonsensical lies. Maybe we would have, because we didn't know any better. filters, you know, social media is relatively new. In my lifetime, it didn't exist and now it exists and it's my job. So it is relatively new. Like, it is not something that we've had around forever. And people have had to discern between lies and the truth. And it's really hard sometimes because it is incredible what special effects and editing and filters can do. I mean, there can be real-time filters. Like, I even purchased one to show you in a past video. I don't use filters on my videos. I show you my real skin. Like, you can see what it looks like. You know, it just is what it is. I do not have any shame in hiding my skin. I don't feel the need to show you filtered skin. But a lot of people know that it's more profitable to show you the before and after, like these insane results by using, you know, deceptive marketing. It's like when companies would sell mascara, the celebrity endorsing the product would be wearing false lashes, and they'd be like, they have to now like disclose that, like, celebrity is using individual false lashes like on a fucking mascara campaign. Are you kidding me? But that's just the way things are, because you probably wouldn't want to buy it nearly as much if you saw that it just did what like this did to my eyelashes, you know? It just made them like nothing crazy, you know? It just made them okay. But I think like 5 years ago, we would have all fallen for this stuff. And I saw it happening, you know, like, okay, I'll use this as an example. This is all alleged, whatever. It works wraps. Okay. You know, like the MLM, and I'm super anti MLM. We can get into that in a future video. And I did talk about the fact that I'm going to be making an anti-MLM video. Heaven help, the amount of research that I need to do to make that a clear and concise video. I get asked about this video every single day. I want to make this video, but I don't want to make it unless the video is going to be good to my standards, and so far I have not been able to get it there. And I'll tell you why. Because there is a wide array of opinions when it comes to this, and a lot of rebuttals that people give, and like things that people want to be like, well, actually, every company is a pyramid if you think about it. It's like, you have to have the rebuttal to that, and I want it in the video so that I can link to it and timestamp to it. But I want to make sure that I'm making a clear and concise video that's not super attacky and targeting, but also has a lot of really good information in it for people that are interested in knowing. And so I want to make it, but I don't want to just willy-nilly throw out some video that people are going to be like, oh, the reason she's wrong is because, like, I want all of the information in that video so that I can reference it and be like, actually at 1344, I discussed this, you know? It's like It Works wraps. Oh man, did I even fall for that shit? Oh, these, you wrap it around your stomach and it will be 4 sizes smaller in one application. I wrap that shit around my chin so many times. When I tell you I was fucking saran wrapping my head, sucking it back, and then I got done and I pulled it off and I was like, I look exactly the same. So I actually messaged the lady that, this was back in the day. And I messaged her and I remember being like, it didn't work for me. And she was like, really weird. That's so weird. It's like, is it weird? Or is your product a scam? I'm gonna go with scam, and that's with so many different things. So I'm not saying this Tarte product is a scam, but what I am saying is that gone are the days where people on social media are going to just look at something and be like, crazy, you said no filter, I believe you 100%. Because even though it looks like there is one on there, and even though when your finger is swiping on your forehead and you could see something flick on and off and it looks smooth and it doesn't look smooth and then it looks smooth, and that's just gotta be my eyes, right? Like, that's just me. Silly me, I thought that I saw one, but you said there wasn't one, and I believe you wholeheartedly and trust you because you are a brand and you would never lie to me like that, like just like It Works. Gone are the days of people being like that. People know now that they're smarter. They're smart. They know. We know. We know that we have eyes and we can trust our eyes. And I think that that's the thing with a lot of this, like, trust your gut, trust your intuition, and trust yourself. You know what you are seeing with your naked eye. And sometimes we could be wrong. And I'm one to say, like, sometimes I have been wrong in the past, and I will admit that. Deceptive marketing isn't getting by people anymore. Like, people are like, oh, no, saw that, and you're a liar. And I've actually tried this. And I think that a lot of times, like, reviewers on YouTube and people calling this stuff out is what makes these brands held accountable. Like, that's why I love when I see brands using real skin, showing stretch marks, showing pores. There's nothing wrong with pores. You don't have to say, this product shrinks your pores. Literally nothing, first of all, can do that. Nothing's going to shrink your pores. They can appear smaller with like filling them in with silicone, but you're not going to shrink your pores by using this product from Tarte. It's just not possible, which they do clarify in the next video. Although she does clarify it and correct. She's like, nothing's going to reduce the appearance of pores. No, that's all anything ever does is reduce the appearance, but nothing's going to actually shrink them. But we know this stuff now because there's education out there on YouTube, which is the beauty of this space, is that we have people out there being like, hey, like James Welch, you know, and people out there being like, this isn't possible. There's an, you know, these claims that you're making just don't exist with human skin. I've had friends reach out to me, oh my gosh, from like high school, or people that have recognized that I do YouTube or that I do makeup, and they'll be like, what can I use to look like this? And they'll send me a picture, and I'm like, it's a filter. That's what you can use. That is not real. You can't look like that. Your skin is fine. Pores are fine. Zits are normal. Wrinkles happen. Crow's feet exist. It means you smile a lot, and it's fine. Like, how can you look like that? Be an android. You're not going to look like that. I mean, there are things you can do to like firm and plump and tighten and all that kind of stuff, but it's not gonna come from a product that like in a tube. It ain't coming from a tube. Yeah, things can, I mean, oh, like look, there's an enhancement that had happened today. But at the end of the day, red, blotchy skin, normal. Skin does that. I mean, my baby has the most perfect skin because he's this literal brand new, hasn't been gotten by the world yet, no sun damage. He's got red splotchiness. He had baby acne. Like, that shit just happens. But we've, you know, been conditioned to know that it, or to see that it shouldn't be there and all of this different stuff. I think that we're just at a point as a society that we are looking at this stuff that's been fed to us for so long, and we're like, that's nonsense, right? Like, that's bullshit. Yeah, it's bullshit. Like these filters, like I've purchased one. Here, it's on my skin right now. It's not that big of a difference. You might not even notice it, but you might look at me and be like, wow, she has beautiful skin. It's simply not real. Like, just let's do this real quick. That's what my skin looks like. It's bumpy and lumpy. And I have zits all around my hairline because it's sweaty and hot here, and I haven't been using skincare for a year and a half. I have not moisturized my skin God knows how long, other than before I do my makeup with apparently a bunch of fucking products that have PFAs in them. I just think that we as a society, like we notice this stuff now, and we are like, no, Tarte, we know there's a filter on that, so just shut up. Just don't lie. Stop lying. Like Savage X Fenty, thank you. Thank you for showing real skin. Thank you for showing real bodies. Thank you for showing what this stuff looks like on people that might look like me. Not that these bodies and stuff like that aren't real, but like, come on. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. We might have been stupid 10 years ago. We didn't know any better, but we know better now. I was listening to a part of Office Ladies podcast last night. It's one of my favorite podcasts. I just love it so much. Nothing negative I'm saying about this, but my point is that they were talking in that podcast about how they had digitally altered a different tie and shirt onto Andy, or Ed Helms, in one of the scenes with him and Angela. And she was like, you wouldn't know that. And I just think that like that's exactly the point. They can put a new shirt and tie on somebody who's moving and talking, and you didn't notice or even realize. It's happening, and we don't sometimes even notice it, but technology's gotten really amazing. It really has. And they might be able to, you know, dupe us on one end, but in the same token, like, we're getting smarter as a society. We're waking up to like, hey, that's not realistic at all. And I think that we saw that with this Tarte thing, and people have fucking had it with Tarte anyway a lot of times. And again, I went to Hawaii with Tarte. I like the brand. I used freaking Shape Tape today. I like things from Tarte. This isn't like shitting on the whole brand. And maybe they didn't use a filter. They swear up and down that they did not. I've seen there's people out there that are using smoothing filters in video, and it's like, you can do whatever you want, but just be upfront about it. Go ahead and use them, but like, just be honest about it. It's not that hard to just be honest. I hate to sit on camera and bitch. I feel like I have not done this in a really long time because, again, when you discuss things that are inherently of like a very intense or negative nature, the comment section is intense. It's just a lot to be reading things, and then people start talking about you, and then it starts like the videos start going out and like, oh, Kristi talking shit about Tarte, and talking shit about Hourglass, and talking shit about these companies, and that's not even really what it is, but it's more of like, when you make a video, I feel like you're like making a statement. I'm really not trying to sit around and make a statement. It's just tiring, you know? It's just like, really? I feel like we know better at this point. And when we know better, we can do better. And that's really all you can ask from companies and individuals. When you know better, you do better. And like, you can hope that's the case. And I'm not going to sit here and write off any of these companies like, well, I'm never using them again. Fuck you. That's not probably what I'm going to do. But at the same time, when a company F's up, you call it out. I don't know. I just feel like I wanted to talk about it in a video. I didn't know how to do it in any other video than sit down, do a get ready with me, and chat about it while I did my makeup with a bunch of chemical makeup that will never leave my body and is being stored in my very tissues. And I can't even know what products those were. What products were they? Hello? Can you tell me so I can simply stop using them? I'll stop using all makeup if I have to. Boycott makeup. No, I don't know. But like at some point, like, shit, my health is more important to me than my beauty. I do not give a literal fuck about the way I look if the rest of me is not doing, well. Let me know. If you guys know anything more about any of this, please let me know down below. I'm really not trying to shit on any of these brands. I'm really not trying to cause a stir. Again, like I said, I'm like one of the last people to talk about this. I've seen so many other videos of people talking about this stuff. I make videos and I talk about makeup and it felt like stuff that I want to talk about. It's not the end of the world. Jaclyn Cosmetics, I'm sure, will do better in the future, and that's what we can hope for. Maybe these companies will start using non-cancer causing chemicals in their makeup. Who's to say? Who's to say? But maybe the law will change and then they'll have to disclose what's in their makeup and then we will know what we're putting on our face. I don't know about that either. I really hope so. That's it. I'm gonna go hang out with my husband and my baby now. I hope you guys like this video. This very simple makeup look that I feel like I've just done over and over and over again, but it is what it is. And I thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Please try to keep it civil if you can. I really don't want to have to start like moderating the comments too much. I really, I don't like fights, but things like this inevitably cause that. So, it just is what it is. But I don't want to have like arguments down in the comments and stuff, but please try to keep it civil if you can. We don't have to fight. We can just talk. And, sometimes these conversations are hard to have and they suck, but ultimately I feel like they lead to positive change the more we talk about stuff like this. So yeah. All right. Well, I thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you at my next video. Bye.